four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The three wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
Before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1200 horsepower brake. Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, you've been moved and a drift to go off. On board with Ben Gregory now. I love it. 16.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to another round of the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com, also sponsored by Abruzzi Racewear and Sim Racing Magazine, with support from Morgan Butler Sim Racing Photography and Simtography by Gilles Gardner as well. My name is Chaz Draycott, and alongside me in the commentary box, as ever, is the wonderful Edward May. And Ed, we're back at Silverstone for the British Boar Prix, obviously one that we get slightly biased about being excited for on this calendar. We had a great British Boar Prix last time with some surprise points finishes. Do you think we can get the same again this season?
Hopefully so. This is an excellent venue for motor racing in any form of vehicle, but especially these little Formula 1 machines, the Formula Mazdas, which are, I think, going to be in for a real treat around here. It's got nice, fast-flowing corners, some heavy braking zones where drivers can opt to send diving moves up the inside. But yes, thank you very much, Chaz. It's been great to get back in the comms box. Sadly, I wasn't able to join you for the almost as live rebroadcast of the French Boar Prix, but I did catch the the video afterwards, and well, I think to call it a dramatic round in the Formula One season would be an understatement.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was a dramatic round indeed. So much was going on in that one. And there was obviously the iconic almost incident at the end between Jake Cranstone and Jesper Eriksson. Jesper coming into this round as a man that made his debut at the French Grand Prix and nearly won the thing as well. This is the championship standings at present. Cam Dance, after finishing third at Manicourt, has a 9-point advantage over Jake Cranstone, who took, of course, his second victory. Only the second driver in the history of the championship to win more than one race, which is pretty remarkable. Cam Dance remains up there on 11 race victories. Pete Harrod is third in the championship, 13 points back from Cranstone, but 10 points ahead of Sam Fitzpatrick, who's had a fantastic run in form at the moment. 2 second places for Sam, off the back of another result before that, where he finished with only 4 points to his name. So he's definitely turned a corner for his season and been working very hard. Celeste Craig-Vrolic is tied with Tim Perry. That's, of course, the McLaren and the Ferrari driver together. Then it's Hoffman, Stiles, Zemstra and Murphy rounding out the top 10. But it's very close there. 8 points, well, even 9 points separating, 6 drivers in the championship. We've also then got the team's championship standings to think about. With that fantastic performance by Williams at the last race and the race before that, they now have a rather large gap of 16 points at the top of the pile. McLaren Mercedes in second place do have one driver here tonight. They were originally going to have none, but they actually have one of them here this evening. We'll go over that in a minute. And then it's Jordan Mugen Honda still ahead of Ferrari by 9 points, and it's close between Arrows Yamaha and Benetton Playlife. But, Ed, we are expecting to see Benetton go very well here because they have Jesper Eriksson on side, who has been a real revelation to add to the championship. Maybe a little bit too quick for a Benetton, but that's something we'll have to figure out behind the scenes. It's been great to have him, hasn't it, so far?
Yeah, it has been brilliant to see him pedaling away so quickly and already making an instant impact, I think it's fair to say, in the Formula One Championship. But I like the highlight you gave of Sam Fitzpatrick. He has been going very well indeed here in the championship. I mean, he had a terrible start to the season, compounded by the fact that he was on for a great result, a potential podium finish at the Spanish Grand Prix, until obviously an incident involving his teammate put pay to those aspirations. So he's been able to bounce back from that brilliantly with great results at the Canadian Grand Prix, the French Grand Prix, and now is looking to get an even better result, hopefully, here at the British Grand Prix.
Absolutely, it's certainly good fun to watch. We've got Silas Craig-Vrolic with us tonight, which is good. Silas was originally not going to be here because of work, but he's actually been able to make it, which is lovely to see. We have a couple of changes on the horizon though. Michael Jones, well, he's not in the car at the moment, but he's taken over Gilles Gardner's seat at Tyrrell Ford. Gilles, unfortunately, is going to be busy with work for the rest of the season, so will not be able to join us on track. We send Gilles all the best and thank him for his participation so far. Michael Jones has stepped up to teammate this man, Simon Price, who's doing a bit of lawn mowing at the moment on the exit of Copse, but the two of them racing together for Tyrrell. I think actually Tyrrell now, without meaning any disrespect to them, no, they're not the only team with that point, because Simon Price got his first championship point at the French Grand Prix very dramatically at the end of the last round, because it looked like Minardi were going to get their first point in the form of Rob Lundgren, John Roberts' teammate, but he ran out of fuel on the final lap, Ed. So big drama all the way through the French Grand Prix. And, well, we'll have to see now how long it takes Minardi to get those first points, because they are the only team without a points score so far this season.
Yeah, honestly, Rob Lundgren and John Roberts are going to do their very best to get up inside. I believe it's top 15, isn't it, that score points?
12. Top 12.
Top 12, sorry, yeah, top 12. And, I mean, Rob Lundgren, based on practice times, is not far off it, is he? Just a little bit shy of John Tusting's effort. And, of course, if he has a clean race, the cars ahead encounter issues, which we've seen plenty of so far this season, they could be on for a very welcome bag of points going their way. But I say we are going to the end of practice and focusing on to qualifying, as you just seen Nico Minardi recovering from a bit of a sort of almost half spin. I think that was where was that actually out on the circuit?
That was
Club, yeah. So that was, I think, easily done, isn't it? When you have that hard into the brakes, the car does have a tendency to try and over-rotate. But going into qualifying, it is a decently long lap around here, one of the longest on the calendar, which does mean that there's chances of drivers just to run a little bit too wide. And if they invalidate their lap times, that's it. There's no go-arounds. They're going to be having to start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, definitely more chance to get it wrong over the course of the evening, which is very important here because it means that a lot of the drivers are going to be pushing maybe that bit harder because the times will be more spread out around this sort of place. So I'm excited to see how qualifying goes. Just a bit of an update then on the drivers that we don't have here. We do not have Jake Cranstone, one of the championship protagonists, teammate to this man, Silas Krag-Vrolik. He's not joining us this evening, unfortunately. He's actually off to see the Arctic Monkeys, so to be honest, I'd normally take the mick and say get your priorities right, but it's a pretty good enough reason to not be racing in Formula 1 this evening. We do not have Tim Perry, who's unfortunately had internet issues, and as you can all imagine, I sympathise with him greatly on that one. He was hoping to get a new router sorted today, but it's not met the standard needed, so he's not going to be racing with us. And Tom Minot, teammate of Stuart Clark, who's going well inside the top 10 at the moment, will not be here either. So it's a chance for a couple of drivers that maybe don't always languish outside of the top 10, but could sneak into said top 10 and get some cheeky points here. We said before, didn't we, Ed, that last season we had some surprise point scorers in this round of the championship, and I reckon because of a few absences, with 19 cars on the grid instead of 22 this time, we could definitely get that again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Martin Kenyon's been a driver that we've seen great pace over in qualifying, but maybe not necessarily translating that into the race. Ross Peugeot need to get some good points on the board, because as you get further down the order, if you can have a great result in the season earlier on, that can have a big effect and make it a lot harder for those behind you to catch up. So we're going to be seeing what the Prosts can do. It's a lovely livery, that, isn't it? Really nice looking dark blue Peugeot. But yeah, now the checker flag has been waved in practice, so the drivers will soon be, well, snapped out of existence and sent back to the pit lane as if on cue. And now he can get ready for the start of one-shot qualifying. I believe it's Michael Jones and John Roberts taking to the circuit in that order.
Yeah, I think we've got, yes, Michael Jones is going to be leaving the pit lane now in the Tyrrell. First driver to head out onto the circuit then in his new car, actually, this time round. Last time we saw Michael in the championship was in round 2, where he was at the Brazilian Grand Prix driving in a Prost, and now he is in a Tyrrell, teamed up with Simon Price. So he's been a good reserve driver for 2 teams so far this season, as Michael. He's just going to be getting used to everything, getting the settings all sorted for this outlap, and John Roberts takes to the circuit in the Minardi, as Ed rightly pointed out. Next car out is going to be Rob Lundgren, who sits patiently there in the pit lane, ready to go for a little bit later on. But Michael Jones then is going to be the first car to set a time in this qualifying session here today. It is a long lap, like Ed said, so there's plenty of pressure for these guys to get it right, and obviously pressure on them getting the session right as well. They have a 40-minute limit here, but we do tend to send the cars out 2 cars at a time, and they've all been very good at it so far, so I think we may be all good, to be honest with you, and we'll have a smooth flow of lap times coming in soon enough. But Michael Jones and John Roberts will be the first 2 out there. John feeling maybe a bit of pressure to score some points here for Minardi, while there are a couple of absences, as I've said. I think there's a number of drivers that have only just missed out on a few points here and there, Ed, that will all be feeling the same thing coming into tonight, won't they?
And John's certainly been one of them. But talking about the longer lap time, it's both a blessing and a curse, because you have more time to obviously get the heat into the tyres and have the car feeling a little bit more comfortable. But also, like you say, when it gets down to the actual lap itself, there's more scope for things to go wrong, and one little error can basically completely invalidate your hard-earned lap time. We'll see now Michael Jones going over the line to start the first flying lap of the evening.
Yep, down towards Copse he goes. Flying through. There's a lot of commitment needed there. You need to be careful on the exit, though, not to invalidate your lap time there. It can be a little bit of a grey area sometimes to not quite kiss the edge of that curb. We're going to have 5 sectors over these laps as well, so there's a lot of chances for us to see when people are improving and when they're not. Michael Jones just overdoing it slightly through Maggots and Beckett's, has to get out of it and then compromise his exit down the hanger straight. Let's see how he goes down towards Stowe at the bottom of the hill. Again, another big commitment corner. John Roberts has gone purple in Sector 1, of course, but he's gone quicker than Michael Jones at this moment in time. It's quite interesting, really, like this now, Ed, because if instead of having 1 car at a time, with having 2, we sort of get a head-to-head format between the pairs, don't we?
Yeah, it is great, and especially when you get down to the latter stages of qualifying, when you do have the championship protagonists trading sector times, it is a real sight to see, and does add to that little bit of jeopardy and pressure mounting on the drivers as they're basically essentially got a sparring partner for the laps. John Roberts going very nicely at the moment, was around about 0.4 of a second faster than Michael Jones on the second sector. Again, another purple sector coming through for John Roberts, so he's on a decent lap here, and that could see him in good stead for the start of the race to obviously get up into those points scoring positions. Like Chaz rightly mentioned, 12th position and higher are the positions that will be getting the rewards for the evening.
John Roberts with 4 purple sectors at the moment. Michael Jones hasn't improved on his outlap 4th sector, so he's not gone as quick through there. Let's see what he does as he comes to the line. He's going to set the first benchmark time for everybody to follow, though. It is a 1:46.324. What is John Roberts going to do to try and beat that? Obviously, it's a purple final sector for Michael Jones, but John Roberts goes quicker by nearly a second. It's a 1:45.371, and John Roberts will temporarily take pole position in the Minardi. Next up, though, making a bit of a meal of the final corner and ruining his run, Martin Kenyon comes to cross the line. He's going to hate that, though, Ed, because, well, he's going to definitely lose a bit of speed here and needs to make it up over the rest of the lap.
Yeah, needs to make it up here by properly attacking first corner here. Just rows it in, leaves a bit of room on the exit as well. Then in towards Magnussen Beckett's on board. You're going to get a lovely shot of just the car balancing itself over the curbs. Nice, you can hear just the downshift, the engine note rises as the car's just not playing ball at all, and maybe that's just due to obviously the coolness of the tyres, but also still maybe a little bit of dirt and dust on it from the off-track excursion.
Flying down the Hanger Straight again, then towards Stowe. John Roberts has actually done a purple sector 2 on his in-lap, and Michael Jones has done a purple sector 1 on his in-lap, but we've said this before, the cars can take 2 or 3 laps to come up to temperature properly with these tyres. That's why drivers make a lot more mistakes over the initial laps, and we see quite a lot of spins and so on. But decent stuff from Martin Kenyon so far. It's just no purple sectors. We've got Michael Jones' teammate Simon Price, who now has a championship point to his name. He said this season one of his aims was to score points, and he's doing a great job because he's got one on the board, and that's all that matters. So very well done to Simon. I've commentated on Simon since his very first league race in the Nevo British F4 series, and he's getting better and better all the time. And in a tricky car like this, it's great to see that he's got this pace about him. There's quite a gap between himself and Martin Kenyon on the circuit, though, so we'll have to wait a few moments for him to cross the line once Martin is done. But there's 2 purple sectors on the board here, Ed. This is looking pretty good for the Prost driver now. He's definitely making it up on the later stages of the lap, like we said. Yeah,
but as he left it a little bit too late, perhaps, obviously, run down through Megas Beckett's didn't look the cleanest. The run out of Abbey as well wasn't the best, but we'll see over the line. Will that be enough to get ahead of John Roberts? Yes, it is, by 1.5 of a second. So it's enough currently for provisional pole position, but we probably won't be staying there for much longer because we've got some bigger hitters actually already turning up. And Rob Lundgren, he's no slouch, so we're going to be able to see what he can do in the Minardi Ford to get some points on the board there. Like you said, Chaz, one of the drivers that has been able to score points, and well, they're not a lot. It can all add up towards the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen differences in positions in the middle of the table separated by just 1 point at the end of the season, so if you can get that 1 point here and there, it's all very important. What can Simon Price do? Can he go even quicker? Yes, he can. 45 thousandths of a second. It's not a big gap, but it's enough, and it means that he's quicker than Martin Kenyon, and Simon Price temporarily puts the Tyrrell on pole position. Very well done to Simon. Lovely time indeed. As Rob Lundgren now takes to the circuit for his lap, but that looked very wide out of turn 1. We have seen drivers abandon laps and come straight into the pits, but obviously Rob's going to carry on pushing. That's a lot of curb across Maggots and Beckett's as well. John Tusting next up. Don't forget, he's still not long out of surgery on his shoulder. He's backed out of Cops a little bit there as well.
Look, all right, he might have missed the apex slightly, but he got a lot of the runoff on the exit, so he's been able to keep some of the speed going through there. And again, look at him attacking the curbs there. He's seemingly got the car under control, even with the lack of temperature. A little bit tentative on the throttle, but still, the lines were good through there.
Yeah, it looked very tasty, didn't it? Very tidy, so maybe it was just me thinking things. we'll have to see. Hello to everybody that's in the chat as well, by the way. Kenjo Racing, Jakub Szmanski, Drew Fletcher saying, evening all, looking forward to a special fibre-tastic CDM presentation. Yes, I've been obsessively talking about the fact I had fibre put in on Monday, which means the broadcast should look a lot crisper, especially when they're fully processed afterwards as well. And I obviously hope that the connection is more stable, which it seems to be. So I hope you're all enjoying it. Hope it looks good. And welcome to Formula 1. Rob Lundgren was in the chat earlier on as well, saying it's the best track so far all season long, perhaps the best layout of Silverstone if you ask me. And then Bunker Monkey is Michael Jones. Oh no, Rob's off. Well, he may have said it was the best layout, but he's finding out a little bit more about it than we would have expected. Off he goes. Oh, he's going to be kicking himself for that mistake. But it's easy to do round there, Ed, because bridge into this part of the circuit is so difficult. It goes over a crest there, and the back end of this car, well, we know how easily it breaks away.
Yeah, you're carrying a lot of speed. I mean, I love the complex at bridge. It's such a fun little section where you just chuck the car through, and you've got to then fight it around, and he seems to have got it nailed there as John. No purple sectors coming through, but from what I can see, the sectors are looking still pretty competitive, so this could be a good time for John as he comes over the line.
Oh,
just a little bit off the mark of Simon Price and Martin Kenyon there, but still good enough for third.
83 thousandths of a second covering the top three at this moment in time. Price, Kenyon and Tusting, all good times though. Toby Ward now crosses the line and goes through to start his latest fast lap. Toby's actually been winning his class in Prescott Hill Climb events, actually, in his road car, in his Toyota GT86. So he's been getting some real-world competitive driving experience as well, which is good to see. And Toby is hoping to convert that into some more prod and consistency around the virtual circuit here in his Stuart Ford. Nico Minardi next up as well in the Sauber Petronas. He was right up there in practice, so again hoping that if he nails his start this time that he could get a good set of points on the board, because Nico's been one of the real drivers that came over from Circuit Superstars that's really shown fantastic pedigree and pace, but just not had the results that reflect it so far. The results sheets have not done him kind favours, have they?
No, they haven't, and some of that is probably down to his qualifying. While he's been very quick, he does have a tendency to push it a little bit too hard, so he'll be looking just to get the lap time on the board, and if he does, it'll be a very good one, because you can see purple through the second sector, and the lines again looking very clean. Nice tight run as well out through club, so it's going to help him all the way down in towards the left-hander as we switch over to Toby Ward, who's coming towards the end of his lap. No improvements actually in the fourth sector, so needs a lot of work if he's to get that pace back in the lap time and to get up into contention for provisional pole position. Nice exit out of the corner, but I think he's just started to struggle a little bit on the latter half of the lap, maybe backing off just to get a time on the board, because it's so important to do around here.
It is, yeah, and Toby Ward is only 0.3 of a second off, so it's not bad at all. He goes down to 5th place, though, so with 4 cars already starting ahead of him, he may drop down a bit further. Nico Minardi doesn't improve on his final sector, but look at that. Wow, he goes fastest by 8.5 tenths of a second into the 44.3s now for Nico Minardi. What a fantastic lap that is. A very, very solid job indeed. Really good stuff from Nico. And we'll contain ourselves at least now to see how he does in the race. But that is a lovely, lovely job by the Sauber Petronas driver. Now here comes Jesper Eriksson. May seem slightly out of place in the order of this session, but of course he was a newcomer to the championship. They go out in reverse championship order, and Jesper is surely going to be one of the fastest times up there. He was fastest in practice for Benetton, and he is clawing back the championship points for this team. And he's certainly rapid, isn't he? I mean, look at how smooth he's being at the moment, Ed. This is lovely to watch through Maggots and Beckett's out onto the hanger straight. Oh, a lot of commitment needed there, I was going to say, and he really has shown how much committed there. Flipping heck.
He's lost a little bit of time, I think, on the exit there, just having to fight the car rather than putting it foot flat to the floor and going for it. So while he did have a purple first sector, that's all been undone through the second, so now he needs to fight back and try and claw some of that time from Nico Minardi, who's currently sitting very comfortably on provisional pole position there. You need to give a bit more credit to that time, because I mean that is immense, isn't it, from the driver of the Sauber Petronas. A really strong lap time, one that I think some drivers that will be coming after him may struggle to try and beat.
Yeah, definitely. I think it won't be long if we see Jesper beat it. Of course, I think he'll beat this time. No offense to Nico, but I don't think he'll beat it by that much. We'll have to see. Ben Chalcraft also on a lap for Jordan Mugen Honda, one of the 2 Jordans in the championship with his teammate Pete Harrod. Of course, there are 2 of every car in the championship. I said that like there wasn't, but there is. Jesper and his teammate Ben Hoffman both here tonight as well. It's lovely to see the Benettons here. The Benettons went really well here actually in 1998. There's a special die-cast version of Giancarlo Fisichella's car, which I have, that celebrates him getting some points at the British Borprix Grand Prix. As there you go. Wow, I said he's not going to beat you by much. Jesper Eriksson 0.762 faster. So the difference now between first and third is 1.6 seconds already. There's a big divide there in the field. Flipping heck, that's pretty crazy to be fair, but we knew Jesper was going to go really quick. Can Ben Chalcraft slot himself in between Ericsson and Minardi? Ben's been right up there in that Jordan most of the season. No, he can't. He does not beat the Sauber. 0.93 of a second off. So Ben Chalcraft finds himself third at the moment. Puts it off the circuit, pushing like mad on his in-lap. And we now wait for the next pair of cars to come around, and that's going to be Nico Minardi's Sauber teammate, actually, Mike Murphy, car number 22 in that distinct bright green lid, the bright green colours that he's always been running on Circuit Superstars. You can see him now just maybe getting a bit of temperature in the brakes as well. He's sort of slamming on, getting going again. This is definite warm-up lap time for Mike Murphy. We've then got the gorgeous Arrows Yamaha of Stuart Clark. Stuart's been a real revelation as well, actually, hasn't he? Because he came into this with very little experience in cars like this. He thought he was really going to struggle, but he's actually had a fantastic season and a couple of very strong qualifying results so far.
Yeah, he has. I mean, it's interesting to see how that will go as the season progresses and the drivers obviously get more accustomed to the car. But like you say, he's been a real revelation, performing excellently so far. As we watch now, Mike Murphy just attacking turn 1. Look at that, really nice line through there. Can he carry it through in towards Maggots and Beckett's and just over the curbs? The car seems to respond nicely. Again, taking a lot of the curbs, careful not to unsettle the car.
Nice.
But look at that.
Tidy.
That was really clean through there. Even though it wasn't necessarily as dramatic as Jesper Eriksson's attempt through there, it was clean and tidy, and that's what you need around here.
Yeah, definitely. It's a long, wide open circuit, so you need to use every millimetre of the road and do it oh so smoothly. And Mike did just that there. It was great stuff to watch. Stuart Clark going well as well. He's not too far off, actually, in the first sector. Only 100th of a second between them. And in sector 2, another 100th going the way of Mike Murphy. They've almost set identical times in both sectors so far of these pairs. So definitely close together in the championship standings and close together in their pace at this moment in time. And just looking at said championship standings again, actually, there is only... Where are they in the championship? 1 point between them, actually. Stuart Clark is actually behind Mike Murphy in the championship, so I think Stuart should have gone out ahead of Mike, but this is how they are on circuit now anyway. But right now, no purple sectors coming in from either of them, but they importantly are doing their personal bests in every sector, so they're improving on the initial lap that they did. We've seen a couple of yellow sectors, actually, haven't we, so far this session?
Yeah, which is interesting. I think maybe it's just because the drivers push a little bit too hard and then realise that they don't want to run wide off the circuit, and they might be backing off just a touch to keep it within the white lines and get the times on the board. As Mike Murphy, look at that lap time, goes ahead of his Sauber teammate up into second place. That was a really clean effort by Mike Murphy, but it just shows the pace of Jesper Eriksson. Even though it was a bit of a scrappy lap, it's still a quick one, enough for pole position still at the moment as Stuart Clark comes across the line and goes up into 5th place.
Kevin Zemstra is going to be looking for a bit of, I was going to say Rezemstron, but that's a bit of a...
that was...
I've got splinters off the bottom of this barrel, mate. But yeah, he's looking for a bit of redemption because he's not had a good season so far as Kevin. He obviously had contact at the French Borprix on lap 1, and he was involved with the contact with Silas Craig-Vrolic as well. Had a great recovery and got some points out of it, but so far this season he sits on just 21 points, and after being one of the drivers right up there in pre-season testing, his teammates got 7 points more than him at the moment. He's definitely going to be looking to start improving those results in the Ferrari. The driver joining him on their laps at the moment is Ben Hoffman in the Benetton. Zemstra has gone faster than Jesper Eriksson did in Sector 2, but obviously Jesper lost a bit of time on the way out of Maggots and Beggets down towards the Hanger Straight. Ben Hoffman going pretty tidy through there as well. Still got a bunch of cars out on the circuit as they make their way on their in-laps, actually, because... Oh, actually, has Ben invalidated his time? Oh, no, they're only just on their out-laps, actually. Apologies, we've missed...
It's Jack Stiles and Kevin Zemstra on laps.
Yeah, it's Jack Stiles and Kevin Zemstra. I'm so sorry. I thought it was Ben Hoffman for some reason. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I didn't just look at the graphic and know. But yeah, these two were teammates last season, actually, Kevin Zemstra and Jack Stiles, both driving for Ferrari. Jack didn't have as much of a good time this time in pre-season testing. So it's been interesting to see that Jack's still got the pace in that wonderful Stuart Ford.
What can Zemstra do as he comes up to the line now? Goes over the beam. Will it be a front row start for the Ferrari?
Ooh.
Provisionally, yes, so. And that was a good effort as well to put himself, what was that, 4/10 quicker than Mike Murphy. So with some breathing space. But what will Jack Stiles be able to do now? Is he going to be able to get up maybe alongside his former teammate over the line? Goes third fastest.
Yeah, Jack hugging the wall on the inside there. Really shortened that racing line, didn't he? To the start-finish line. Did everything he could. Jesper Eriksson's time stands strong, but now there's a bit more of a bridge in between the gaps that we had through the pace down the field. Zemstra 2 and a bit tenths of a second off, another 2 and a bit tenths off to Jack Stiles, and then another sort of 1.5 tenths back to Mike Murphy. This is Ben Hoffman. Now he's actually on a lap, and now he is pushing round turn 1. Still has Craig Vrolick, the next car to follow him through. Craig Vrolick 5th in the championship at the moment as well. So the man that was fastest in all of pre-season testing, currently not having the season to reflect that at this moment in time, but he's been unlucky with contact and spins and accidents, so he's going to want to turn that around. This is the second half of the season beginning as well, isn't it, Ed? This is round 6 of a 10-round championship, and it's absolutely flying by, to be honest with you. I'm loving it so far, but I don't want it to end yet.
No, but it's still got a little while to go yet. We obviously are seeing the championship fight start to materialise and take place before our very eyes, but at the moment it's still wide open for plenty more drivers to make a late charge and try and stamp their authority on the second season of the Formula One Championship. But here we go, and Hoffman now onto the brakes, getting the car turned in. The car just looks so unsettled. You can tell that the drivers aren't comfortable with the tyres just at the moment as he comes down under through bridge.
It's great to see the commitment through there, isn't it? The speed of them through there is just fantastic. We absolutely love it. Great fun to watch the direction change of the car around there. Right now, though, we've got a bit wide from Ben Hoffman, actually, at that part of the circuit. But I think he's got away with it.
A few scrappy sectors in there at the sort of latter part of the lap. So Craig Vrolick has definitely gone a little bit quicker than him. And yeah, that's not a lap that Ben Hoffman is going to be happy with there. We're going to see what Silas Craig Vrolick is able to do as he comes across the line in the lone McLaren for the evening. Again, only good enough for 6th. It just shows the strength of the Saubers. Their 2 lap times are still seeing them currently in 4th and 5th.
Not quite sure why, but apparently the stream has died over on Twitch. Not quite sure why, everybody. Really, really sorry, but apparently it's died on Twitch. Kenjo Live is telling me that it has. So sorry about that. But not a clue. It's apparently still streaming there on Restream, and we're still live on YouTube, I believe. Still
Must
going.
be something on Twitch,
So,
potentially.
Yeah.
I know they aren't necessarily the most stable of platforms at times. But at least it's live somewhere, so we'll be able to carry on at the very least. And look at Sam Fitzpatrick. He's going to be in to carry on and get a hurry on, actually, if he's to best or try and match the time set by Jesper Eriksson. It's still the benchmark for the drivers to chase down. We've also got Sam Fitzpatrick just coming up now in towards Stowe. Beautiful corner this, up the hill, getting on the apex and then powering all the way down through into the Vale chicane. Just tell that the drivers are really loving this circuit. It's one that a lot of people have been looking forward to. It's over half the field's home race, so of course they're going to be looking forward to it. But nevertheless, it's great to see the cars around here. Like you were saying earlier, it is some of the drivers, and potentially actually my favourite layout of the track, just the complex through bridge. It's just unrivaled. It's so fun.
Yeah, this part of the circuit is fantastic, isn't it? The way you've got to really hug the outside line there, and you've got a really long apex through Brooklands onto the brakes, then into the last couple of corners, really hurt that apex on the inside. You've got to really attack the curb. And apparently Twitch is dead. I'm really sorry, everyone. I'm not sure what on earth has gone on there. I will actually just turn it off on that. It doesn't say that it's had any issue at my end or anything like that, but I have just tried to log onto it, and yeah, it does say I'm offline, so apologies. Where does Sam Fitzpatrick go? He goes fastest. Sam Fitzpatrick beats Jesper Eriksson by 0.14 of a second and takes pole. I shouldn't sound so surprised because Sam's been rapid, but we were pretty sure that Jesper Eriksson's time would stand. Fitzpatrick to the top for Williams Mechachrome. Epic stuff.
That's a really strong lap time there as Pete Harrod goes across the line. Only 6th fastest, but he splits the two Saubers. Gets himself comfortably in between the pair of them, so that could be exciting to see how they'll be lining up. Maybe a bit of a team game between the two Saubers to get the better of Pete. That could be something he'll have to watch out for.
Yeah, definitely. But Sam Fitzpatrick right at the top of the pile. That is awesome to see. Ericsson second in a Benetton. Then it's a Ferrari, a Stewart, a Sauber, a Jordan. We've got 6 different teams in the top 6 positions right now. Is Cam Dance going to change that? It's very, very likely. But let's see whether we get some purple sectors at the bottom of your screen then. First sector is not purple. Cam Dance pushing and pushing and pushing though. And we know that the reigning champion is going to try and do everything he can now to extend that championship lead while Jake Cranstone is not here. We don't run drop rounds in the championship, I'm afraid. It just is how it is. And right now, Cam Dance knows how it is, and he's got to push like mad here, Ed. He's certainly going to be on a mission in these middle sectors. That's where we know that Cam is good with this car. He's great on the brakes, and he's great at really throwing it into a corner and being able to control a slide.
Yeah, that's the exact way you've got to drive the car, is just chuck it and then control it afterwards. You don't need to worry about what you're going to do before the corner. You've only got to essentially react to what the car is doing as you find it, and that's where the top drivers really do start to shine. But at the moment, personal best for Cam Dance. No purple sectors coming through, but again, we saw that with Sam Fitzpatrick. It wasn't necessarily second time towards purple, but still, as he came across the line, the lap time was there, and it was quick, and look at that. Really attacking the curves. Nicely done, Cam Dance, and that's a purple sector just to emphasize it. That was a really nice run going down through bridge.
Into the last couple of corners though, this is where this car can be at its most sensitive, through slow, tight, long corners, all sorts. As long as you're at a sort of slow to mid-speed, this car can try and kick your head in. Cam's a bit wide on the final corner. He's going to run to the line to end this qualifying session. Is it going to be enough for pole position at the British Grand Prix? Yes, it is, by 54 thousandths of a second. And Cam Dance makes it a Williams 1-2. They're top of the pile in the Drivers' Championship, top of the pile in the Teams' Championship, and now they're top of the pile in qualifying here at Silverstone as well. Very, very well done, Cam Dance, and well done, Sam Fitzpatrick, as well. Great stuff, Ed.
Really nicely done there by Cam Dance. Takes the short run through in towards the second half of the lap and towards the pit lane, but that was, like you say, an excellent display of car control by Cam Dance and Sam Fitzpatrick, the two Williams locking out the front row. And well, you got to say, it's going to be difficult for other teams to try and catch them, especially one of their nearest rivals, McLaren. They've only got the one driver out here tonight, and sadly, he didn't have the best of qualifiers. I think just turning up a little bit late, a lack of practice, might be hurting CLS Craigford just a bit.
Certainly will be, and seeing this graphic will hurt him a bit as well, to be honest. Cam Dance and Sam Fitzpatrick lock out the front row for Williams Mechachrome. Bennetton Play Life have Jesper Eriksson in third place ahead of Kevin Zemstra, and then we have the Stewart of Jack Stiles in fifth place alongside Mike Murphy. Great qualifying, I should say, by Mike. Pete Harrod starts 7th with Nico Minardi alongside him. That's good from Nico inside the top 10. Silas Craig-Vrolick and Ben Chalcraft round out said top 10. So again, we've got a very solid mix of drivers in the midfield here. There's Stuart Clark and Ben Hoffman, 11th and 12th, Arrows and Benetton. And then we have Simon Price, 13th, ahead of the two Prosts of Martin Kenyon and John Tusting. Then it's John Roberts in the Minardi. Toby Ward in the Stewart is 17th. Michael Jones is 18th after that session, ahead of Rob Lundgren, who was the only driver not to set a time. But he's going to be certainly pushing hard from the back of the grid. But it's that usual time of the night, Ed, where we're just going to take a quick break here. But I'd say that was a very, very interesting session, that, to see just where the drivers lie, because practice doesn't always tell the full story, does it, mate?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. Like we saw Jesper Eriksson topping the timing sheets in practice, but when it came down to the one-shot qualifying, I think a little mistake coming out down the hangar straight was, I think, what cost him all of that time, sadly. But now we're going to see what he can do from third on the grid to try and overtake the two Williams that, like you say, lock out the front row. But we are going to go for our quick little break now, and I'll be back with you just before the start of the British Grand Prix.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Ed May here for the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com, also sponsored by Sim Racing Magazine and Abruzzi Racewear. We've got warm-up going on at the moment here at the British Boar Prix. We hope you're all enjoying the show so far, and after a very interesting qualifying session, we're certainly in for a very interesting race as well. This circuit lends itself to commitment and smooth racing lines, but while it seems flat in most places here, Ed, as we look at Pete Harrod go down a hill, it's not completely flat everywhere, is it? It's a real challenge sometimes with the little bumps and tiny, subtle undulations of this place.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful track to drive on, but also just to see them racing together. There's plenty of times if you do get overtaken to fight back around the outside and then get the inside for the next corner. So I think we're in for a real treat here tonight when it goes green, but obviously, like we stressed to the drivers, fingers crossed it's a nice and clean affair, because I've seen a few drivers get a little bit too, I think, over-eager and exuberant with some of their overtaking moves, and hopefully tonight we'll start to see a little bit more of a calmer affair. I certainly know my heart needs it. Oh.
Well, I've just had news as well. Thank you to John Roberts for doing a bit of digging after Twitch went down. Basically, you're not allowed now via Twitch or on Twitch. You're not allowed to stream to Twitch while streaming to other platforms at the same time. So, looks like my Twitch, my Twitch sort of presence will be cut down a lot unless I start just playing random games on there again like I used to. So maybe I'll have to put more conscious effort into doing that. But unfortunately, it looks like my streams will no longer be on Twitch for sim racing broadcasts unless they're there on their own, which they will not be because I'll be doing it on YouTube. Anyway, we've not got long left in warm-up now, only about a minute and 20 seconds. We've got Pete Harrod fastest in the session at the moment. Doesn't stand for too much, but it's just a case of getting used to how the conditions are now that everybody's been out on the circuit, because one of the main things here, Ed, is that having all of these cars do their laps and go through the practice times and put a bit of rubber down even during one-shot qualifying, it can make a difference, and the temperatures can change over that sort of half-hour period that it takes up.
Yeah, it certainly does. And obviously, yeah, like you say, the drivers getting back out onto that circuit to get a feel for the track conditions that will be used, at least for the start of the race. Stuart Clark comes across the line. Very nice time there. Third fastest in the warm-up. Obviously, some drivers opt not to go out onto the circuit. Instead, use the 10-minute warm-up. It was a bit of a comfort break to sort of readjust and get themselves settled. It's been a bit hot here in the UK, so maybe a chance to sort out the fans, maybe dip their face into some ice cold water before getting back into the car for the, well, how long is it? About 40 minutes worth of racing? 45 minutes worth?
Nearly an hour most of the time.
Nearly an hour.
Yeah,
so decent bit of time of the race spent in the rig. Of course, drivers need to take care of themselves as best they can do. Like you say, Chaz, it's been a really good season so far up to this point, but what do you expect for this, the race that will kick off the halfway point of the season?
To be honest, I'm wondering what Cam Dance and Sam Fitzpatrick are going to do as teammates near the front of the field, whether they will work together or whether they will fight amongst themselves, because Cam does have a healthy advantage of the championship and, of course, does not have his primary rival here with us. Cam Dance on pole position then with his teammate Sam Fitzpatrick alongside him. Jesper Eriksson will start in 3rd place. A definite potential race winner there for Benetton. Kevin Zemstra in 4th place will hope to take a win for Ferrari. Jack Stiles and Mike Murphy make a very interesting row 3. Then it's Pete Harrod and Nico Minardi ahead of Silas Craig-Vrolick and Ben Chalcraft. Row 6 is going to be Stuart Clark and Ben Hoffman. Sorry, I forgot how to count there. Simon Price 13th ahead of Martin Kenyon, with John Tusting, John Roberts, Toby Ward, Michael Jones and Rob Lundgren rounding out the field. So we wait now for the last car to make it onto the grid, which is actually going to be Cam Dance. There's Sam Fitzpatrick. We had a very lively start to this race last season, didn't we, Ed?
I don't know what you're talking about, Chaz. I have no idea. I think one that I'll be looking out for are the 2 Saubers on how they get started, because I think there's something around here, something about the tyres. They just don't seem to get off very well.
They do not, but round 6 of the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com is underway, and see you later. Cam Dance is absolutely launched off the line. Jack Stiles has gone slightly backwards, and Jesper Eriksson is challenging Sam Fitzpatrick down towards turn 1. Kevin Zemstra's in there as well. They're side by side as they go around Copse, and Jesper Eriksson takes 2nd position. Martin Kenyon's had a great start. Car 3 is up 3 at the moment. Ben Chalcraft's just lost a place as they go down towards Maggots and Beckett's, but the field streaks through for the first time. Let's see what they can do through here as whoa! Ben Chalcraft for the 2nd week running with Stuart Clark as well has gone off. Oh my goodness me! Stuart Clark came back on there and nearly took people with him. Someone is off. It's John Tusting. I think John went off in avoidance more than anything. Somehow they don't clatter into other drivers. But wow, Ben Chalcraft for the 2nd week in a row, like I say, has a big drama early on in the race and shares it with Stuart Clark. You can see big battles going on further back there. Silas Craig-Vrolick making a place up as well as we look back from race leader Cam Dance. But now they're into club. They've just about sorted themselves out now, Ed, as the battles actually continue for 5th position here. Pete Harrod on Mike Murphy.
Yeah, Pete Harrod trying to go all the way around the outside. I think he's been able to get this move done. Mike Murphy's probably going to slot in behind, concede the position, and just chill out for a little bit, but maybe not for long, because look at that darting up the inside. Lovely little move there by Silas Craig-Vrolick, who's hungry to make up ground early on, already up 3 places from the start of the races. Oh, Michael Jones, he's had a moment there. That was coming into, I believe that was coming into Abbey, wasn't it?
Yeah, just coming into a little chicane, and Mike Murphy's going completely backwards here. He's lost a couple of places in just a couple of corners. Rob Lundgren's gone off. Rob's gone off where he went off in qualifying as well. I'm not sure if he got some help there, but he's certainly off the road at the same corner, recovering back onto the circuit. Toby Ward's had a demon first lap. He's gained 6 places from where he started. It's like 17th on the grid, and he's all the way up to 11th. But it's Cam Dance leading the way. Jesper Eriksson immediately putting him under pressure. This is what we wanted to see, because Jesper was the one that was right up at the front from the very get-go at the French Grand Prix, and he's not playing to the rules here. Normally they all sit behind each other in slipstream, but he says to Cam, you know what, stuff it, we're going for it, and a Benetton leads at Silverstone.
There you go. Cam Dance is, we know he's always content not to be in the lead for the whole race. The only one that really matters to him is the all-important one when the checker flag greets him at the end. And now, look at them all battling away, looking to go around the outside in towards Stowe. They have to calm it down just a bit.
Oh.
Obviously, what's gone there? Ben Chalcraft again. Right, isn't this is yeah, it is again, isn't it? He's had yet another moment, and that front wing is looking more and more damaged by the lap. You see he turns in. Does he tap the grass? Oh, yeah, just a little bit.
Tiniest bit,
right
wasn't
on the
it?
exit.
Let's have a look back at his start, actually. Sorry, Ed.
That's all right, no worries. It's just the thing in these cars, if you just tap the grass a little bit, it can have a bigger impact than if you just make a big mistake and just fully clatter it with the whole of the tyre. But look at a demon start, but this puts him in a bit of a difficult position later on. I think we're going to see it now, just coming in towards Copse. Leaves room on the inside if anyone wants to go for a move. Running a little bit wide, but carries on. You can see it's the Stewart just going around, and then he's just thrown offline, isn't he? And then all of a sudden he's got no control on the car. He's trying to turn it away from the road, but there's nothing he can do. Luckily, it doesn't get collected.
Yeah, very lucky not to get collected. Same goes as well for Stuart Clark. But Jesper Eriksson is taking the lead, and he's starting to try and run away with it here. We've got the top 5 right together. Silas Craig-Vrolick in there as well. He's had a good start from 9th on the grid up to 6th. And this is the important bit of the race that he wanted to get sorted, is get into that lead train and sit with them now, because this is where he can fuel save and where he can manage his race from this point forward. The two Saubers are both having quite contrasting races, actually. Michael Jones and Nico Minardi are the only two cars on circuit that are where they started on the grid in this race, but Mike Murphy has lost 3 positions. Jack Stiles, just in front of Nico, has lost 2 positions. We've got a few big movers, actually. Toby Ward is now up 4 places. John Roberts also up 4 places in the Minardi now that he's gone past him. Around the outside into Stowe as he goes chasing down Martin Kenyon.
Into the points.
Yep, very importantly, into the championship points for John Roberts. Minardi don't have any points yet this season. Rob Lundgren came painfully close at the French Grand Prix last time out, but ran out of fuel on the final lap. So John's going to be hoping to uphold those honours. Stuart Clark's going to be quick to come back through, though, of course. He qualified a lot higher than this, but had an off in the opening encounter with Ben Chalcraft. Same with Simon Price. He's lost a few places from where he started as well. He qualified in 13th position. So there's been a lot of shuffling. There's a few front wings with a bit of damage here and there as well, Ed. Never really thought of this place as a front wing killer, because the curbs are all very low, aren't they? It's very interesting to see that.
Yeah, it might have been just from little netco contacts on the opening lap, little bit of touches here and there can damage the wings of these cars. They're surprisingly fragile, to be fair. We saw it a lot at Winton, didn't we, where the cars were getting damaged here, there and everywhere from the curbs around the circuit. And because it's the track where you do need the downforce, the high to medium speed corners really do affect the car's ability to chuck the air over it and hunker it down to the road. So that's something that I think the drivers will need to be aware of. But of course, from the cockpit, you can't really see how much damage you've got.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, Jake Cranstone saw his car after... It was Winton, wasn't it, actually? The first round of the championship. Looked like the side pod was going to be ripped off the thing, because it was absolutely battered all the way down the side of the car. It wasn't just the front wing either. It'd been clattering over the curbs that much that the entire side pod was damaged. Here comes John Roberts then, trying to get back at Toby Ward, who overtook him towards the later stages of the previous lap. John looks down the inside towards Stowe, and if they do have a battle, it's surely going to let Stuart Clark get in on this as well, and he could take the pair of them and get up into a point-scoring position, because this is for 12th place, the last championship point in the race. John's going to go around the outside on the way into the chicane, but then it's going to become the inside. Stuart's going to be nice and opportunistic. Oh, I don't know if Toby knew he was there initially. Stuart sticks it to the inside. He's going to get in the slipstream now down towards the chicane. This is full-on Formula 1 battling right now. Look at the slipstream in these cars. It's colossal. Stuart makes sure that he just sticks to his own line. He's going to focus on getting it nice and quick through the chicane. Toby goes in a little bit hot. John tries to get on the cutback, but has to back out of it. Stuart's gone deep on the exit as well. Oh, everyone's mucked up a little bit there, Ed, but that's the thing. It's so easy, I should say, to push too hard in a battle like that and get too excited. And all of a sudden, there's a bit of a reset button being hit now. It's Ward ahead of Roberts, ahead of Clark.
Grass is deadly around there. I thought as soon as Stuart Clark ran wide, he was going to be going straight into the tyre barrier underneath the bridge, but he did well to keep the throttle into the car to actually get the rotation through and keep it out of trouble. As soon as you start to hit the brakes, the car just carries its momentum forward with whatever trajectory it has, and that would have almost certainly sent him into the barrier. So great car control to keep it from any more harm than it was already in at that point. As we, like you say, go to the front of the field, and Jesper Eriksson, the Benetton, continues to lead from Cam Dance, and now look at that, Kevin Zemstra up into 3rd place.
Yeah, Zemstra going well in the Ferrari right now. This is what he needs for his championship. He needs some big points, especially for Ferrari as well, to try and overtake Jordan Mugen Honda. Ben Chalcraft having a bit of a nightmare race. He's at the back of the field with John Tusting, and again he's having to recover with wing damage on the car in the early stages. It's suddenly gone from being an amazing start to the campaign for Ben to be a bit of a nightmare here at the British Grand Prix. We've got the top 7 together. Jack Stiles is sort of hanging on to this train, isn't he there, Ed? He's not quite with them in the same way, but he's within slipstreaming range-ish, so he can watch from afar and hope that he can save a tiny bit of fuel here and there. But I imagine more than anything he'll be pushing to stay with them in the first place.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to catch back up to him. He's going to be getting several helpings worth of slipstream from all the cars coming down the hangar straight, so he should be fine for now. And you can see actually through this final sector he has been able to close that gap down a little bit more, so it seems to be all fine at the moment for Jack Stiles. Further back, this battle is continuing to rage on. Toby Ward going up the inside, careful there's no contact between himself and Stuart Clark, gets the move done, and
he's actually defending Ed there, Ed, actually.
John Roberts. Is he? Oh, yeah. John Roberts up into 12th now, so he must have overtaken pair of them, because I think John Roberts was initially in 13th place.
Yeah, John was.
So I think John's been able to overtake Toby.
Yeah, John was between the pair of them in the middle sector. He got ahead, and then Toby's had to start defending from Stuart Clark now. Michael Jones and Rob Lundgren have just swapped around as well. Michael's found a bit of pace in this Tyrrell, and he's just got ahead of the Minardi. So these two are having a scrap further down the order. There's battles absolutely everywhere as Rob just drives off the circuit. Down towards Copse they go. Is he going to look down the inside? No, you can see Ben Chalcraft in the background there. But back to the front. We've still got battles galore here and plenty of teams in them as well. Look at the way they fan out. It's like the red arrows as they come down towards Stowe. Lovely stuff. And then behind this as well, you've got Minardi, Murphy and Hoffman as well. The two Sauber Petronas cars, I should say, having a fight. You finally get to see those two headrests next to each other. One red, one yellow that I was banging on about at the start of the championship. Just round the driver's helmet. It's the little details, isn't it? Johnny Herbert wore a yellow one in 98 and John Lacey wore a red one. And I thought I'm going to reflect those details into this championship as well. Ben Hoffman doesn't care what colour the headrests are, he just wants to overtake them.
Yeah, he's a bit sick and tired of looking at the back end of the Sauber, but even if he overtakes this one, he'll be great with the next one up in front of him. So he's going to have, well, Sauber's when he closes his eyes, you'll imagine, if he isn't able to overtake them sooner rather than later. Lovely little helmet as well, actually. You can see on the drivers from this angle. It's the Sebastian Vettel-esque helmet, isn't it? With the German flag colours there. The strip across the right-hand side of the helmet.
Ooh.
So, a big twitch on there as he does well to control it, because it's so easily done to let that slide completely overtake the car and find yourself facing backwards going through the gravel.
Yeah, definitely. All that takes there is just a change down. All you need to be doing is be lingering off the throttle. Just tap it down a gear. The back end will suddenly engage and just crack the rear tyres around, and suddenly you're going to be backwards, like you say, Ed. Pete Harrod has got a bit of a gap behind him now to Silas Craig Vrolik. I think Silas made a little bit of a mistake on that previous lap. He was quite a bit slower than Pete, and he's not been able to outdo him. We've got John Roberts running wide out of turn 1, and that may give Toby Ward another opportunity, who's stayed in front of Stuart Clark now in this epic battle for the final point spot in the field, which is lovely to see. As Toby tries to put his nose down the inside. Watch the slipstream in here, because Simon Price is behind all this as well. He's in slipstreaming range, only 0.6 of a second behind Stuart Clark. This is all go here in this part of the field. Certainly an exciting time. It's great.
How strong it is.
That's on the medium setup as well. The high downforce setup's even worse than that.
Look at them side by side in towards Stowe. Down now in towards the Vale chicane, or the chicane at Vale, whichever way you want to say it. It's going to be difficult for John Roberts, but he hangs on, and now look at it. Toby Ward again having to defend. He tries to make the move stick on John. Can't quite let it to then
Stuart
hang
Clark,
back and relax. That was Stuart Clark was trying to attack. I think Toby Ward was trying to make the move. It doesn't come off, and then he has to go back defending again.
And Simon Price all this time is watching it unfold, and look as they compromise each other through the chicane, and they all have to back out of it. John Roberts disappears under the bridge and over the horizon. Simon Price having to back out there as Stuart Clark goes to the apex on the exit of the chicane. And there's 4 cars fighting together from 4 different teams: Minardi, Stewart, Arrows and Tyrrell. None of which have a big amount of points so far this season. I think the highest of them all is actually Stewart this season. I think Stewart have quite a few through Jack Stiles. Yeah, 26 points actually to Stewart. They're ahead of Sauber in the championship as well, which is quite amazing. Prost have 2 points, Tyrrell have 1, Minardi no points yet, and John Roberts is doing everything he can to defend that honour. He's doing a really, really good job.
Pushing hard, and he needs to do that if he's to stay clear of Toby Ward. The slipstream is, like we saw, just incredibly strong in these cars, so he needs to get to a runner at 1.5 seconds before he can really feel any form of comfort. He's trying his best to do exactly that. Dearie me, what's gone on there with Michael Jones?
Big issue for Michael Jones. He's just overdone it through Copse. Is he going to overcorrect on the exit? He's going to hit the Astro. Yep, it's gone one way then the other. That's a massive impact. Rips the side pod off the car. And that is Michael Jones out of the race for now, at least. There's been a move here as Kevin Zemstra has run out of patience and got past Cam Dance in the slipstream. Decides to go down the inside. And then in the background as well, Jack Stiles having a go at Silas Craig Vrolik. He got through for a moment, and then Silas stayed around the outside. That's committed through there. Wow, very, very tough racing between these pair. And then Jack tries to go back on him. Doesn't get it done. They're still having a good old scrap, though.
And look how much time they've lost there as a result of all of that. They've dropped way back from the pack. And I think that's not really what you wanted to be doing. If you see the cars in front battling, you shouldn't really be the ones to try and battle yourself, because if you get carried away with it, you'll be just losing so much time. It's best just to catch up and stay close to the battles rather than get too caught up in the ones you're finding yourself in at the moment.
They're 1.7 seconds off now.
Yeah, they're just outside the slipstream range. I think they might be able to get a little whiff of tow, but not a lot else.
Pete Harrod then 5th into Maggots and Beckett's. He's still got Sam Fitzpatrick, and so to be fair, actually, the 2 Williams that started on the front row have both dropped 2 spots in this race. Oh no, Ben Chalcraft's had an off. He's had an off, and I imagine... Oh, I like that he's driven between the cones. Nice one, Ben. I was going to say he's had an off, and he's probably had enough as well, to be honest with you. He's having a bit of a rough night, is Ben. But Jesper Eriksson's not, is he, Ed? He's having another race-leading charge, and I imagine enjoying himself.
Yeah, and why wouldn't he? It's going very well for him. As actually, I'm having a look at John Roberts. Has he been able to break the toe to Toby Ward? We'll have a look and see, but I think he's been able to pull out a bit of a gap. Not
7
quite
tenths.
enough still. It's in range for Toby Ward to be there or thereabouts. In fact, actually, looking at the lap times, he's going to be trying to get a bit of a charge and a push on to catch up to Martin Kenyon, but Martin's just done his personal best of the race. He's been extending that advantage. But if he's able to get some slipstream of himself, John, that'll put him in a much more comfortable position to hang on to that 12th place, because he won't be essentially as much of a sitting duck to the chasing pack in behind.
Here's a battle going on as well a bit further ahead of them inside the top 10. Mike Murphy still trying to defend from Ben Hoffman as Nico Minardi wants to try and break away. No, John Roberts has gone off. Literally as soon as we look away from it, John Roberts has been off the road at the chicane, and Toby Ward in the Stewart finds himself back inside the points. Oh my goodness me. Literally, Ed's commentator's curse is the most powerful I've ever seen. He had a moment of it last night. It just turns him way too early.
Yeah, a little bit too early there. It does big bit of damage to the front ring as well, and because he's not in the slipstream, he's going to be struggling to get back into this fight unless they all start to battle and slow each other up. I can't imagine Minardi getting any points this evening, so it might be yet another scoreless round for them, sadly.
Jack Stiles and Silas Craig Frolic are still having a scrap as well. They're now 2.6 seconds behind the pack ahead, so they've committed to just having a fight amongst themselves now and throwing one another around this circuit. As in front, there was nearly a move on actually between Cam Dance and Kevin Zemstra, judged on the timing screen, but look at this is great battling between these pair. I know these guys often sit together in Discord chats as well, so they'll be in a voice channel together communicating about all of this, so it's all going to be slightly choreographed in the way that they'll tell each other when they're running deep or when they're going to make a mistake, or he might be shouting, I'm not going to attack this time, or I am going to attack this time. But it's certain entertainment for us, we know that much. Jack Stiles showing everybody here that he's definitely still got the pace he had last season to be driving for Ferrari. He's doing a great job for the Stewarts, who didn't have a bad season in 1998 in all honesty, so it's looking good. As Stuart Clark is the next one to have a drama further down the order. It gives a place back to John Roberts. Toby Ward has gained 5 places and holds on to this very well-deserved point-scoring position, doesn't he? Flipping heck, he's the only one that can hold it on the road at the moment. Simon Price, though, you know, he lost a few places earlier from his 13th place qualifying position, and now he's recovered them, and he's back on the pace here. He's chasing down Toby Ward pretty well, actually.
Yeah, he's certainly in the fight, but like you were saying about the Stewarts having a good season, sadly, Stuart Clark not having a great evening. That little mistake there has seen him drop way back, and now he's in the clutches of John Roberts' Rob Lundgren. Has something gone on there? He's dropped way down the order.
Yeah, something has gone wrong here for Stuart Clark, actually. The car isn't behaving itself.
No, it was this moment here when you were talking about Stewart's, then all of a sudden he went for a move up the inside, and then that's when we saw him facing backwards at the exit of club.
I wonder if the steering's a bit out or something. Let's have a look when he gets onto the straight. It seems okay there, but doesn't look that bad. Yeah. Odd.
Might just be the front wing damage.
He has come into the pits though.
The car, and also the heat of the tyres, but yet he's come in, so could have been some suspension damage. Takes the fast repair, the rear wing, or the front ring rather, snaps back into place. John Roberts as well actually coming into the pits and going back out on the circuit, so that's his pit stop done for the evening.
Yes, they can pit any time after lap 10
until the end. Yep.
Jesper Eriksson flying around here. Sam Fitzpatrick pushed a bit too hard there, didn't he? pushed a little bit too hard. These two are pushing a bit too hard as well. Oh my goodness me, Celeste Craig Frolic committed as you like through there to get past Jack Styles. Some great fights going on. They may not all be beneficiary to the drivers involved, but flipping heck, there are some fantastic fights. As now, look, you can bet some of these boys are going to pit because they're all starting to squabble. We know that when Cam Dance really pushes, he's going to be pitting. We'll have to see. Is he going to come in early? No, we're going to bet that Cam's going to come in later. But still, this is a very entertaining British Boar Prix so far. We're going to be halfway through after this lap, and then we're going to get into the real go time when the strategy is going to come more prominently into play, let's say, as once again, Pete Harrod and Sam Fitzpatrick are the duo trying to cling on to the lead pack as they were in Brazil.
Desperately trying to cling on, it's fair to say, because the pace of those front three is rapid, to say the least. Look at this Pete Harrod now. God, the line is to get in the car, just pitches around next to you. You can almost feel the stresses on your neck when you go on board, just seeing the car dart one way and then the other at the speeds that they're going at. Well, they're not necessarily the fastest open wheelers on the iRacing service. Just the sound and just, I think, the mechanical rawness of the car, it really makes you feel it.
Yeah, it's the drama and the sort of occasion of driving this car. There's a lot going on. You've got that high-pitched buzz, so it feels faster than it is. And that's what makes it such an enjoyable little machine. You've got this caricature-y, old Formula 1 car nature about it. That's why we race them here in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship.
So much movement in the car as well, isn't there? It always seems like in the Formula 4s, they look a little bit more reserved. But with this, there's always something going in the car. The way the car reacts to every little bump, and wherever's here, the suspension being a little bit harder. It just makes it look that much more dramatic.
This is going to look dramatic as well because Jack Styles runs a little bit wide, and again Celeste Craig Frolic commits to the inside line, pushes it through on the exit. Great battle in there. Now 5.7 seconds off. There's definite proof for those of you that don't think that battling like this really loses you that much time, because flipping heck, these two have hemorrhaged time up to this point. As Celeste gets sideways, Jack doesn't want to give him a single inch here. Round Luffield they go. Jack can obviously carry a higher speed round there, but not have the ideal line. Are either of them going to pit? No. The whole field can pit after the end of lap 10. Or, well, from the end of lap 10 onwards, basically. We've only had 2 pit stops so far that are seemingly scheduled as Jack Styles makes it down the inside on Silas. Another move done. This is awesome. Really awesome to watch. This is as, oh no, Nico Minardi pushing a little bit too hard, getting excited by those guys in front. Spread out a little bit here as Mike Murphy.
He's getting excited because he sees them battling and sees that they're slowing each other down, so he's pushing hard to try and catch up because he can see a couple more positions are certainly on the cards for him for the end of this race if Silas Craig Frolic and Jack Styles keep up this madness, which, well, Silas is in the tow. He's going to be closing down in towards Stowe. And look at it, diving up the inside, he's going for it.
Oh, no!
The madness continues.
This is exactly what we love to see in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com. Insane battling, so close in open wheelers, wheel-to-wheel stuff in drivers, well, drivers I should say, that are just not scared to race each other. They've got so much confidence in one another, such great camaraderie behind the scenes. There's a great positive attitude towards this sort of stuff, and they are fighting tooth and nail for this. Into the chicane again, Silas round the outside, he pushes his luck a bit too much. And he's overdone it, I'm afraid. And Nico Minardi, Mike Murphy, and Ben Hoffman are going to go through. I think he just pushed his luck one too many times there. May have been a bit of netcode involved, granted, but still, he was playing with fire. It was great to watch. Don't get me wrong, I don't think either of them necessarily did much wrong. But it's just that one little bit too much, isn't it, Ed, that can just ruin it. And Silas just, later on the brakes, tried to squeeze Jack to the inside. It didn't pay off. Let's have a look.
Yeah, those two play with fire, and sadly it was Silas that got burnt. We'll have a look there, and yeah, you can just see he goes for the move, tries to take it around the outside. Netcode or otherwise, there may have been contact, if not on that lap, then certainly on other ones down the line at the rate they were battling. It was great to see, but there was always that sense that it might not have been one that ended without contact. We'll have another look of it just around the outside, on board with Jack Styles. Inside, and to be fair, there's a decent bit of netcode there, but again, they were battling ever so close.
Yeah, I think the fact of it for me was that Jack was on the curb and, well, Silas was only just leaving about a car's width from the sort of middle of the curb to the middle of the road there, but still, I don't think there was anything too untoward about it, just hard battling, and in the heat of the moment, you can throw it in and just hope, I guess. Cam Dancer's actually got back in front of Kevin Zemstra here, so it's now Benetton Williams, Ferrari Williams, Jordan, instead of having the two Williams together. Zemstra is still up one position from where he started. He's doing a good job in the Ferrari. Look at how wide they run through the first part of that chicane. It's just cut and skip across the inside of the exit. It's amazing to see. But Jesper Eriksson's amazing to see at the moment, isn't he? Leading this race. Fantastic, fantastic determination from this young Swede. And once again, he's showing us that maybe he's above the speed of the Benetton for the 98 season, but we love to see one at the front. Don't get me wrong, it's one of my favourite liveries in the field. We hadn't had both Benettons on the grid since the start of the championship. As here comes Simon Price. He's after some more points here, Ed. He's hungry after the French Grand Prix.
Here we go. This is going to be good to see if Simon can get up there. He's got Toby Ward for company, the Stuart Ford versus the Tyrrell Ford. Like you say, Simon Price, he's certainly started to find a little bit more pace in this little Formula Mazda. As the season has progressed, it's great to see the drivers get a little more accustomed to the car and start to get a little bit quicker with every passing round, which is what we saw in season one for all the drivers. Obviously, it was a new car for everybody, so we saw the field get quicker and quicker. And now we're seeing a lot of the newcomers, the rookies, get that little bit extra pace as they progress through the season. Nico Minardi now has Ben Hoffman of company, but also Mike Murphy just up ahead that he's getting a nice little bit of slipstream from, so maybe that'll help him out. Maybe not, though, as Ben Hoffman looks to the inside and Nico, I think, rather lets him have it more than anything else. And might be letting him have it, in another sense of the word, down into the Vale chicane. As he looks all the way around the outside, has to opt for the compromised line, and you can see the position.
Great stuff, though, by Nico. He certainly carried some great speed there, got a lovely cutback. They just need to be careful again themselves battling here, because Silas Kragvrolic is 3.6 seconds behind. We'll keep our eye on that sort of gap between these guys and Silas, because now that Silas is on his own, he doesn't have to sort of slow down early for anybody. A little bit janky there from Nico through the chicane. Didn't seem very confident on the exit. Never mind.
Oh dear.
I had to say it, didn't I? I had to say it. Silas, the only McLaren here this evening. Michael Jones has had a drama as well, actually, just at the same time. He's going a little bit too hot into Maggots and Beckett, clips the grass, and around it goes. This is what happens.
A snap of oversteer, just a little bit there. But Kirsten, the commentator, Chaz, it's not been kind to you or me here tonight, especially you. As you were just talking about Silas Kragvrolic trying to close down on him, and I think was just pushing that a little bit too hard. A big hit into the wall there. Has seen the rear suspension with damage as well, and that's going to need repairs. Obviously, the fast repair is available for the drivers, but they only get the one.
They do indeed, and he's dragging it back to the pits, or he's trying to. It goes, well, a complete 360 as Rob Lundgren makes his way into the pits. We've got Minardi, Ward, and Price in the pit lane as well. These guys all making their pit stops now. It's quite a busy time for the pit lane. It's a long pit lane here at Silverstone as well. You certainly do feel it when you come down here. But yeah, Silas Kragvrolic, unfortunately, having dramas there in the chicane. Now, this car does usually have a bit of a four-wheel slide about it, doesn't it, Ed? The whole thing can just sort of float understeeringly wide. And I think Silas was expecting it to do that, but then when the rear end was going on him, he was already back on the power, and there was no way to save it. It's a real pig to save this car as well. Mike Murphy's about to find out. Oh, no, it's going to go. Oh, just as he clips the curb as he comes back on.
Yeah, just digs in from the grass onto the tarmac there. And that was he was in a good position there up until that moment, as he's now dropped back down into 10th position. This is going to be a great little battle, isn't it, actually? Into watching them all go around there, because now we're going to be seeing where some of the drivers that have pitted and where those that haven't pitted come out. And it's actually John Roberts ahead of Toby Warden. I think that was a battle that we were seeing for 12th place earlier on.
Yeah, Simon Price as well in this one, actually, and Stuart Clark, so the band is back together, and John Roberts is now up to 13th. We've got Ericsson, Zemstra, Fitzpatrick and Styles all in the pits here, Ed, so a bit of a pit party going on for some of our leaders. Cam Dance and Pete Harrod have both carried on, actually. They're going to do extra laps. Let's see how this all sorts itself out, shall we?
Before the pit stops as well, actually, Cam Dance and Jesper Eriksson had almost checked out at the front of the field. They had a nice, comfortable gap to the likes of Kevin Zemstra in behind, so that might be one that we'll be keeping our eyes on, is where Jesper Eriksson is as he comes out of the pit lane. What gap does he have to Kevin Zemstra? Looks like it's around about 1 second or so. And we know how quick Cam Dance is on the way both in and out of the pits. We might be seeing the Williams car taking back the lead of the race from the Benetton. But for how much longer? Well, that's the case. Just look at these cars. They're always battling together. This is started to erupt once again into life. All of these drivers once again find themselves on the same bit of track together. And I think it's fair to say, when all the pit stops have been sorted out, this is probably going to be the battle for those final points playing positions.
Now they've gone past Ben Chalcraft and John Tusting. It's going to be the battle for 11th and 12th now as well, instead of just 12th place, as Simon Price has gone wide on the exit of turn 1. Stuart Clark goes through and continues on now, chasing Toby Ward, who is in 12th place. John Roberts in 11th. That's 2 championship points for him. Bit of a shout out to Martin Kenyon as well. He's having a bit of a lonely race right now. He's got 7.8 seconds to the car ahead, 9.5 seconds to the car behind, but he's still in a good point scoring position. Cam Dance and Pete Harrod are creeping their way down pit lane now. There was 2.5 seconds between them as they came in as well, so Cam had a really solid in lap. But let's see what Jesper Eriksson and co are doing, because at the moment they're still in flying formation. Jack Stiles is 10 seconds behind these guys, so he's certainly not in the hunt now. That battle he had earlier was the one that really separated him from the pack.
Let's have a look. Jesper Eriksson and Cam Dance. That's the battle that we're going to have to focus on. As Cam Dance has got the car up and rolling. Jesper Eriksson will be coming through Copse Corner now. Cam Dance is already out of the pit lane. And look at the gap that he has now up into the lead of the race. Over 2 seconds, but that will come down with the speed that Jesper Eriksson is able to carry in towards Maggots and Beckett's. It might just be within slipstream range of around about 1.7 seconds. I think he's close enough to get a little bit of tone with the 1 lap pace of that Benetton. Cam Dance might still have company before the end of the race.
And Kevin Zemstra has dropped behind Pete Harrod as well. Pete's actually made a couple of positions up here. He's up into 3rd place now as this battle has evolved. And it's Sam Fitzpatrick in 5th at the back of it, so a fantastic tussle between these lot. But once again, Cam Dance making it work strategy-wise, doing a great job. The battles go on here as well for the remaining point spots. That's Stuart Clark around the outside of Toby Ward at Copse. That's brave. And he's going to make it work before Maggots and Beckett's, and he goes into that final points-paying position. But he's still got Toby Ward and Simon Price in tow here as well, as John Roberts hopes that these battles continue, and he can hold on for those 2 points for Minardi to get the first ones on the board for their season. But let's go back to the front, because this is just going to get closer and closer, isn't it, Ed, between these 4 cars at least?
Yeah, certainly so. This is going to be a great fight. I can just see how unsettled the car is. Sam Fitzpatrick, you can just see the steering wheel, a little micro adjustments and corrections that have to be made all of the time in this car. It's always looking to break away from you if you take the corners at pace, which is what you need to do, just on the very verge of losing adhesion with the tyres. Like you say, it's all about getting the 4-wheel slide and controlling it. I think Sam Fitzpatrick is needing to have his work cut out for him because, of course, at the back of this train, while you are getting extra slipstream, you are also losing that aerodynamic performance. Plus, with the addition of the extra speed, meaning you're taking more speed into the corners, it can be a recipe for disaster. So far, so good at the moment. Sam Fitzpatrick, who's going to be using this as an opportunity to size up the competition around him before the final sort of 3 or so laps, when we'll start to see them battling maybe with a little bit more venom and vigour.
Let's talk about venom and vigour. Flipping heck, Silas Kragvrolic is carving his way through some of these guys in the field. He's just gone past Rob Lundgren. John Tusting went past Rob as well. I think Rob's had a bit of a mistake there. Yes, he was going slowly on the exit of the chicane, so Ben Chalcraft went past, then John Tusting, then Silas Kragvrolic, and then Silas has sent it down the inside of John into the next left-hander. He got very close to the back of him there, and then chucks it up the inside. There was just a bit of a battle going on between Sam Fitzpatrick and Kevin Zemstra. We stay on a replay here to see what happened, because I think Sam got the better of him into the next chicane, but then Kevin returned the favour on the exit. Let's have a look. Sam dives from miles back. Whoa. It's a hell of a send. Doesn't make it stick though. Ooh, tries to find it on the exit. Oh my goodness me, that was great racing by the two of them, but as we go back live you'll see it hasn't paid off for Sam. Oh, well, that's not even Sam, but he's he's in 5th position right now. The lead for Cam is 1.8 seconds with 6 laps left here in the British Boar Prix. These two have swapped places again as Rob Lundgren has now gone back past John Tusting. There's so many fights in this series, Ed. I love it. Everyone's got a dancing partner, so to speak.
Yeah, it's just been great to see, apart from, I think, actually Martin Kenyon, who's been all on his lonesome for most of the race. Everyone else has had, like you say, a bit of a sparring partner. You can see, actually, the gaps around Martin Kenyon. Well, he is sort of in his own little bubble, sadly, at the moment.
Yeah, 7 seconds that way, and then when we look behind, it's, another 9.9 seconds back to John Roberts. You saw him just going through shot there, actually, with some of the other cars around him. But Martin Kenyon inside the top 10, scoring points for the team, and that's so important right now, because even further down in the championship, there's a lot of bragging rights for the teams as Sam tries to find a gap where there isn't one. Goes off the road there. I'm glad he didn't continue on with that. I wouldn't have agreed with that at all. But Pete Harrod's going to be happy to see these two red cars fighting in his mirrors, because this means that he's able to get away and hold on to a podium finish, which would be his second podium of the season. Fitzpatrick, a gorgeous move around the outside into the chicane. Wow, oh wow. That was fantastic driving by both of them to keep it nice and tidy there without contact. Goodness me, that was committed from Sam. He's really showing now that he wants to push forward. No mucking about.
Yeah, absolutely none of it. And gap update as well to the lead of the race between Cam Dance and Jesper Eriksson. Last lap, Jesper took 2/10 out of Cam Dance's advantage. And actually, I think Cam might have had a slight mistake going through Abby there, because you can see now that gap has come down to 1.3 seconds. So all of a sudden, we might see them nose to tail as we start our final lap, as John Roberts is demoted down into the final points scoring position there in 12th place, but won't be too upset with that. He's just going to be happy to be scoring points for Minardi and getting them up on the board. That, I think, will mean then that if John Roberts does finish in 12th place, that every team will have at least 1 point to their name.
They will indeed. Minardi may be the last ones there, but it will certainly be celebrated that they get some points on the board if it comes off, because there's still Toby Ward and Simon Price chasing them down. He's got no time for rest yet. He needs to continue pushing on, maybe hope for a mistake from Stuart Clark or a bit of a change in the battles ahead. There's been a car spin around there by the look of it. Someone's lost a lot of time. I think Mike Murphy had a drama at the end of the lap. It was his smoke that was disappearing because his previous lap, no, Martin Kenyon actually, he was 1.4 seconds slower on that lap. So I think Martin just had a bit of a drama in the final sector there, but nothing too much to write home about. Battle for the lead is still 1.3 seconds apart in the favour of Cam Dance, and you know that Pete Harrod isn't going to be pushing at this point in time, is he, Ed? He's just going to be sitting there behind Jesper. Even if he closes in on him, he will still be waiting and waiting to close in on the race leader.
Yeah, Jesper Eriksson gaining about 4 and a bit tenths on Cam Dance last time around, so it's certainly a lot of pace on board for the Benetton, closing down in these final stages. But will he be close enough to battle at the end? That's the all-important question that I'm not sure if we'll be able to get the answer for. Well, we will get the answer for eventually, but sadly we have to wait a little while for that. Because again, the gap will come down a little bit more, but only by a tenth or so this time by. But every time Jesper gets closer, the slipstream gets bigger and bigger, more and more beneficial. It makes it just that little bit easier to catch and gain, and then to charge and try and overtake.
There's a battle still going on here for 12th. Toby Ward has caught up with John Roberts. He wants to take that points position away from Minardi. Side by side through the chicane. John's going to hold on to it for now. He's been defending so well over the course of this race. We'll need to keep one eye on this battle. Sam Fitzpatrick did the fastest lap of the race last time round, and he's on a real charge at this moment in time. There's another car that's had more dramas there. I think Martin Kenyon again, actually, because he's now lost about 3 seconds to Stuart Clark behind. So if he carries on having these dramas at the same sort of sector of the circuit, then he's going to just drop behind them all. What's his lap time? It is a 1:47.5, yeah, and his previous one with another mistake was a 1:45.9. Stuart Clark, for reference, has done a 45.0. He's checked out in 11th place. He's one of 3 drivers in this race that are where they started. Himself, Nico Minardi in 8th place, and Cam Dance, our race leader, started, of course, on pole position. Is he going to take maximum points here tonight, Ed? It's very likely, but the gap has come down again, 1.1 seconds.
Eriksson is so quick through this bit of the circuit as well. You can see how much he's pushing. He's gained just a tenth of a second through that chicane alone. It's this final sector that I think really suits his driving style. He can just chuck it into the corner, but has the ability to get the car to stick. Look at that, over the curbs nicely. Again, onto the brakes as well. The car just seems to respond nicely to him, and actually a little bit twitchy on the exit there for Cam Dance, just a bit further up the road. Again, twitchy for Jesper Eriksson. They're both pushing incredibly hard here, but once more as the laps tick by, the chances and opportunities for Jesper Eriksson to get up onto that top step of the podium become fewer and fewer, as Simon Price looking to make the move up into 16th place, battling with Rob Lundgren. Rob all the way around the outside will then get the inside line. That's a lovely little move there by the Minardi Ford, just to hold on to that position more than anything else, as this was a moment between John Roberts. Is this him able to get ahead of Toby Ward here? Look at that, diving up the inside, a big lock up, and there's actually contact between the two of them. I don't think there's any damage done to Toby, fortunately, but that was a bit of a misjudgment by John.
Look at this as well. Sam Fitzpatrick has caught right up with Pete Harrod, and Kevin Zemstra has gone backwards. As no, John Roberts is off. John Roberts is off and on the grass. And all of a sudden, Minardi's hopes for those points have gone flying down the order. Oh, it was looking so good for him. There may have been a tiny bit of contact a moment ago, but it's all gone to pot for John Roberts. Is he just going to overdo it on the exit? Is he going to hit the curb? Yeah, it's already going, look. Oh, and as he's on the throttle, it just spits the car off the road. Sam Fitzpatrick went for it on Pete Harrod, and then Pete mugged him on the exit as well. It's all kicking off with just a couple of laps to go here, Ed. We've only been racing for nearly 40 minutes, though, so you were pretty spot on with your prediction earlier on. It's only going to be about 45 minutes, or it's normally an hour in these races.
High-speed circuit, this.
It is, yeah.
Well, it's a long track. It's just you're taking so much speed through all the corners that it will be a little bit quicker than, say, something like Interlagos, where, while the distance is similar, the average speed is that little bit slower. So we're going to be seeing Cam Dance now under pressure a little bit by Jesper Eriksson, but through that final sector was actually able to increase his advantage. And when he crosses the line, there's only 2 laps to go, 1 second between the leaders, first and second. I'm not sure if Jesper will be able to close down enough to be able to fight, because not only does he have to close, he then has to make the overtake. So by the looks of things, Cam Dance just needs to nurse it home and manage the gap.
Yeah, he needs to just hold on, doesn't he, for what will be his 12th victory in the CDM Boremula One World Championship. The only other driver that's ever won more than one race is not here tonight, and it's the man that is this guy's teammate, Jake Cranstone, teammate of Silas Kragvrolic, who's trying to take away that final point-scoring spot from Toby Ward as well. Bit of heartbreak for Stewart there to lose another points position. Silas is so close to him at all points here, but Toby's holding on very valiantly, isn't he? Silas is going to try and get the run. A bit of a cut back out of the final corner. He needs to be so careful with how close he's getting. I think he's driving a bit angry after his incident before. Side by side down towards Copse. He's going to be committed around the outside. You can bet that from Silas. And see what he can do. No, he tries to get a cut back. Oh, has to back out of it partway around the corner. And very good reactions there from Silas not to go into the back of the Stewart. They've got Ben Chalcraft behind them as well. He could still score points here. He had a great recovery at Manicourt. Why not do it again here at Silverstone? The gap for the lead, 7/10 with 1 lap to go here, Ed. That's slipstreaming range for Jesper Eriksson. I'm not sure it's enough slipstreaming range to make too much of a difference on the last lap. Let's see.
It might not be enough, but it could be enough to give him one opportunity, and that could be down into the Vale chicane. He's going to close down in towards Stowe, and if he gets a good run out of the corner, then I think Vale will be the best chance. If not there, then probably the complex at Abbey just before coming underneath the bridge. But here we go, down in towards Copse Corner. Cam Dance has about 6/10 of an advantage over Jesper Eriksson, but will this be enough? The white flag has been waved. They both know the score. It's this lap or not at all. It's to go for the lead of the race for Jesper Eriksson.
Oh, I forgot to make a white flag joke at the French Grand Prix. Oh well. Jesper's overdone it on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's, and down the straight. Cam's going to weave like mad, you can bet. I don't know if that's really going to affect anything positively if you follow them in the weaving. In my eyes, you're just scrubbing off speed. Pete Harrod sticks with them. That would have been the key opportunity for him to really get some points back. As now, Toby Ward's lost it, and I told you that Ben Chalcraft could get points. Ben goes through the middle. Toby Ward loses it in battling with Silas Kragvrolic, and Ben Chalcraft in the Jordan looks like he's going to recover to get a championship point here at Silverstone. Well, anything can happen.
The monkey's paw, Chaz. You mentioned it. The finger curled, and all of a sudden, you can just see Ben Chalcraft up into the points, but at the expense of Silas Crag Frolic.
He's had
And
another
also,
horrible
I
night.
think sadly, Toby Ward.
Yeah, Toby was having a great night, and Silas obviously recovering from his earlier incident. It was certainly a battle of two drivers with very different stories going on in their evening. Unfortunately, a little bit of exuberance and a tiny mistake has caused that. Stuart Clark's actually just got ahead of Martin Kenyon, you know, as Sam Fitzpatrick shoves it down the inside of Pete Harrod, but it doesn't work. But everybody in chat, please, once again, put your hands together, because Cam Dance continues an insane amount of dominance in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship and wins the British Boar Prix. That is win number 12 for Cam Dance in this championship. Jesper Eriksson gets a very well-deserved second place ahead of Pete Harrod and Sam Fitzpatrick. Great entertainment at the end. Kevin Zemstra finishes in 5th place. Big points for Ferrari. Jack Stiles is going to do a wonderful job for Stewart, and Ben Hoffman is going to be the biggest mover in the top 10. Started 12th on the grid, up into 7th. Great drive by Ben. Nico Minardi is going to lead home the two Saubers in the points. They've had a really good night, actually, to be fair, Ed. They've certainly done a good job at coming up through the order, as Stuart Clark is, well, I say coming up through the order. Sauber have actually dropped 3 places total, if anything. But Stuart Clark has had a very sudden second wind at the end of the race here, mate.
Yeah, come on, great for the Arrows Yamaha driver, as he's to overtake Martin Kenyon late on. I think those mistakes from Martin really did affect him. He was in sort of his own little space, but then all of a sudden, Stuart Clark found him, as Rob Lundgren has had a bit of a moment there with, sadly, Simon Price.
Yeah, some dramas going on here into the final moments. Simon Price trying to move on Rob Lundgren. Oh, Rob's gone to cover the inside very early. And I think he knew that Simon was going to send it. And if I'm honest, defending that early was going to sort of always cause an accident. But Simon's let him go back in front, to be fair to him. Simon's thinking, you know, I sent it down the inside there. That was on me. Let's have a look, though, at what Sam Fitzpatrick did to get past Pete Harrod near the end there, because he was so close to causing an accident of his own.
Yeah, he just was very late, very committed, chucking up the inside, and then as he hits the curb, the car just snaps on him. That was amazing awareness, though, wasn't it, by Pete Harrod? He saw that coming a mile off.
Oh, Sam, I love it. I can hear Sam just shouting, "Do it for the memes," as he does that. Honestly, look at Pete here. He goes, "Nope, stuff that." See in a bit, mate. Oh, it's so perfect. Oh, Pete, that is so perfect. I've got to see that again. That is so perfect from Pete Harrod. We're going to watch this in slow-mo. As watch the steering here. There's just one little tiny dab there to the right to straighten it up a bit. And then he continues on through the corner like normal, because he knows that's enough clearance. Look at that. Just past the end of the nose goes the crash structure of Sam Fitzpatrick's car. And Pete Harrod gets on his way to a podium finish. Let's see what happened here, though, with Silas Craig Frolic and the guys further down, because it was Toby Ward, wasn't it?
Toby Ward, wasn't it? Yeah. This was Toby Ward chasing down Silas. Silas gets a bit of a snap on, and again snap on the exit. So Toby fancies move up the inside. Has an almost exact same moment that we saw Sam Fitzpatrick have, darting up the inside, but sadly this time this results in contact and sees Toby Ward outside of any real chance for a points scoring position.
I mean, it was a valid...
Chucks up inside. It was a good send. It was just obviously then when he hits the curb, carrying too much speed in, the steering lock as well, and sadly sends him into a spin.
And it was, whoa, it was nearly not a safe drive through there for Ben Chalcraft either, but look, same again, look. Turns into the corner, turns to the right slightly, and then gains a place. It's just both Jordans doing that in the same corner over the course of a few minutes. But wow, what a fantastic, fantastic race that was, once again, from the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship. There's donuts aplenty and all sorts of celebrations going on, but we can give you the race results before we then, of course, have a chat to our drivers. Cam Dance takes another win by, and we can officially say, less than a second from Jesper Eriksson. 9.99 behind him, Jesper Eriksson, with Pete Harrod taking another podium. That's his second of the season. Sam Fitzpatrick finishes 4th. He's on great form at the moment. Kevin Zemstra gets some good points for Ferrari, and another lovely drive there by Jack Stiles. Ben Hoffman, the biggest mover inside the top 10, going from 12th to 7th. Nico Minardi and Mike Murphy get solid points for Sauber, with Stuart Clark rounding out the top 10, considering he was way off the circuit on lap 1. Not a bad recovery at all, sunshine. Martin Kenyon finishes 11th, with Ben Chalcraft in 12th. Toby Ward finishes 13th, just outside the points in the end, which is a big shame. Same too for John Tusting, Rob Lundgren, Simon Price, John Roberts, Silas Craig Frolic. All of them were so close to scoring points there. and all unfortunately had incidents. Michael Jones does complete the race, albeit 2 laps down, but still, that is the closest that we've had everybody together all season actually, and having all of them pretty much finishing the race. So hats off to the drivers for their commitment and for carrying on obviously all the way through. Let's have a look back then at some of the slow motion highlights at least, and we will have a chat with some of our drivers and see who is waiting to have a quick chinwag with us. Well, we have to speak to him. It's just protocol these days. But Cam Dance joins us back in the commentary box. Cam, once again, mate, congratulations on a fantastic victory this evening. You must be over the moon, mate. Another one to add to an ever-increasing tally.
Yeah, 100%. I'd have to say that's probably one of the more enjoyable, I think, and probably the hardest working ones I've had to do as well, to get that win, with the fact that Jesper was just hounding me lap after lap and we were just doing qualifying laps pretty much that whole final stint after the pit stop. So yeah, no, really cool race, really awesome. It was going to be close, I wasn't 100% sure, but hey look, we'll take the points, we'll take the win, and get a further foot in the door towards the championship.
Well, that's what it's all about, mate. All about that bigger picture as well. And obviously with Jake Cranstone not here tonight as well, it's a perfect score, really. So doesn't get much better than that. Talk to us about this circuit, though, because in this car, which is very small, on a very wide and flat circuit like this, with the odd bump here and there, it is a big commitment circuit, isn't it, in these cars? There was a lot of floating around and sideways people through some of the long, smooth corners.
Yeah, 100%. Like, a lot of these corners you had to be fully committed, especially through those faster ones, because you just had to utilize the downforce 100%. Otherwise, you just lost so much time compared to what you would in the slower corners, just to the fact that you could carry that much speed through the corners. So, and then the other challenge with the slow corners as well is you just had to make sure you weren't overdriving the tires too much and overheating them. So there was challenges both ways, and the fact that you had the slow corners to make sure you weren't killing your tires, and then obviously making sure you were utilizing the amount of grip you had in the fast corners.
Well, it certainly looked good from where we were, Cam, and another fantastic strategy to make it work as well. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to after another brilliant victory?
Yeah, obviously shout out to Sam for making a Williams 1-2 on the front row for qualifying. Obviously all the boys at Orbit Motorsport and our partners Hybrid Tune, Demon Tweaks, Sim 3D, Fight CRC, and there's one other, Sim Racing Bubble, for all their support as well. Oh, and everybody for all the awesome racing, and you guys for the awesome broadcast.
Thank you very much, Cam. Again, very well done from us here, as it becomes norm now that we've got you in at the end of the race. But once again, mate, you know, we respect the dominance, we respect the amazing performances. Go and enjoy your day, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, will do, guys. Cheers.
Well, there we go, Ed. He's certainly in form, isn't he? As Cam Dance continues to win races and is still the most winningest driver. And it'll take at least another season now before anybody could even rival that tally of his. It's remarkable, isn't it?
It is absolutely bonkers, the stuff he can do behind the wheel of the Formula Mazda. It's just begs belief how he's able to do it every single week, and it does it in so many different ways, doesn't he? The domination out in front with no chance for drivers to chase him, or being sort of second or third for most of the race, and then right at the end turning it up that little bit extra, finding that inch or so more of pace than the rest of them and getting it across the line in first. It's something that a lot of the drivers have just left sort of scratching their heads over.
I've just had a quick look in the Discord, and Sam Fitzpatrick has put at Pete Harrod, great avoidance. That's all that he's put. Pete Harrod's put great racing, mate, hell of a send. And what we'll actually do is we will speak to one of the two at least now. We'll have a chat with Sam Fitzpatrick over what was a really, really entertaining race by the look of it. Sam, you had a bit of a bite at everybody in that one. Talk us through it, mate.
It's happened a lot this year. Well, of course, qualifying was great, and then Cam, being the horrible man he is, decided to ruin it for me. And then I didn't nail the start. It wasn't a bad start, but obviously once I was on the outside, cold tires, it's very tricky. So I was down to fourth, and like just this season, every single race it feels like I'm in fourth or fifth, and then I'm not aggressive enough in the first stint because I'm too anxious about losing the draft. And then I leave myself with like 5 overtakes to do in the last 5 laps. And so I was really pleased with my pace near the end. I nearly got up to third place, but I had to properly get my elbows out in order to make any progress towards the end.
Well, you've had 2 second place finishes in a row before this. 4th place, still not so bad. Big points for the team's championship on a night where McLaren got 0. What are you thinking now in terms of the bigger picture? Is it going to change your attitude at all with the last 4 rounds of the season? Are you going to take your foot off the gas a bit, or are we going to see the same absolute 110% pushing?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible today because I did like 45 minutes of practice, which is astonishing for me, and like that's like was really useful. And I was actually on like a good rig. I mean, big shout out to Lewis Ward. I was on his, well, you know, Lewis will admit this, it's a rubbish rig last week, and I was amazed that I got P2. And so being on a good rig today, I was actually confident. I felt fast. But yeah, just, you know, and it's tricky to overtake as well. So once I was down in fourth, it was tricky to make my way up. But yeah, I really want to win a race. Like, I feel like I've had the pace to do it now for like the last, I mean, bar Interlagos, even Interlagos, I was there or thereabouts. But every other race, I think I've had the pace to challenge for the win. So no, I would quite like to get one. I thought today might be it, but it wasn't.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing how close you can get, Sam, and whether you can do that, mate. It's always entertaining to watch you, and we must say that send at the end at the end on Pete Harrod was, if anything, it made us laugh more than anything. It was just fantastic. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, that send, like, I think I was desperate. Like, I was thinking, I'm not going to get a podium out of this, so I was quite annoyed. And so he sent it. And credit to Pete, he's a very, very good driver, and he did a great job of avoiding. So big thanks to him, and avoiding me at Stowe as well. Thanks again. Thanks to Lewis Ward for giving me his rig last week. Thanks to the Apex Racing Sim Centre. I've got fantastic air conditioning. I put it to 20 degrees, which is a very nice temperature in the heat of summer. So big thanks
see you later, Sam.
to them. And thanks to both of you for putting on a very good stream, as you always do, and a very good championship.
Thank you very much, Sam. Absolute pleasure as always, mate. Best of luck with the remaining rounds, and I'm sure we'll speak to you after some of them at least.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cheers. One man I do want to grab in very quickly, Ed. We will instantly jump over to speak to Jesper Eriksson, because unfortunately after last week we didn't get a chance to speak to the Benetton driver on his debut. Jesper, welcome to the booth, my friend. You had a very busy race there, nearly getting Cam at the end. That looked like good fun.
Oh, it was awesome. I love these cars, and I love this type of racing. It's always enjoyable, and this series is just so much fun, especially with the old liveries and everything, and now the old track. I didn't know that until today, so that was quite interesting. I never realized we were gonna do the old track.
Oh, well, we have to stick to traditions, my friend. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to go racing on the old Silverstone, and you certainly made it look easy out there at points, but well, these boys with their... Yeah, it looked it from where we were, but with Cam and his strategies and some of these boys fuel saving, it's never straightforward, is it?
No. Oh, the slow corners. I almost turned around like 5 times in that. Like, I can't control the rear tires in the slow corners. It's just frustrating. It was the same at last week at Magna Course. That stupid left-hander after the fast chicane. Almost spinning like 5 times in a row. But yeah, it's awesome. Kind of catching Cam, I was like, it's not over, but we shall see.
Well, you're certainly doing a good job for Benetton, mate, and I know Ben Hoffman's happy to have a teammate here that's doing good jobs as well. He had a great race himself, actually, getting up into 7th. In the Teams Championship, obviously, it can get very, very close very quickly. You'll be ahead of Arrows after this round. Are you going to go chasing Ferrari and Jordan?
Of course. It's always the goal to beat Ferrari. You don't want to beat Ferrari.
That's very, very true, my friend. Very true. Well, it's fantastic to speak to you, Jesper. Honestly, we've loved having you already in this championship and look forward to the rest of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks to before you go?
First of all, big thank you to my best friend Lucas, who's indeed race engineering. Great fun, just chatting and strategy and during the race, and just this whole series is awesome. Thank you guys for streaming, and all of the community too, just everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Jesper. We love having you, mate. It's a real great addition to the championship, and we look forward, like I say, to seeing the last couple of rounds of the season. But thank you for hopping in, and we will see you again very soon.
We sure will. Have a good one, guys.
Cheers. What a fantastic character Jesper Eriksson is. He's a real firecracker, isn't he? I think I must have got Jesper mixed up with somebody, because I assumed he was going to be very Kimi Räikkönen-esque in his interview and not say anything, but he's loving it, isn't he, Ed? And that's what we love to see from the drivers. They really do love this season and this series in general.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great season so far, and you can tell it's really rubbed off on the drivers. Even the newcomers, like you say, he's only been here for a couple of rounds, but he's already seeming like he feels part of the furniture, and why wouldn't he? He's right up there battling with Gam Dance and while he didn't have it here tonight, you can bet that he's going to be right up there yet again in a week's time when we go to the Red Bull Ring in Austria.
Yeah, and that's going to be another great round of the championship here in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com. But Cam Dance adds to his already impressive tally here and gets another race victory, once again living through another week without anybody else having 2 wins or more, other than Jake Cranstone, who unfortunately was not here tonight. We do look forward to seeing him back again, but as for now, that is all for this evening. Thank you to all the drivers, everybody in the chat, everybody that's been watching. Thank you as ever to Ed, always a fantastic laugh, really good speaking to you, and obviously commentating with you and having a good time with the race. And well, that's all. Thanks to the sponsors, of course, F1Countdown.com, Abruzzi Racewear and Sim Racing Magazine. But that is all from the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship, everybody. We will see you again very, very soon. Have a good night. 4 French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. They're 3 wide again. Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across. They're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
Before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy. You know, these are 5-ton machines, 1,200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, you can look and the drift is going off.
Dan Gregory now, I love it. 10.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.